All right, greetings, everybody. We are here and we're talking about life after school, but specifically how you can accelerate your success, how you can get beyond the entry level job, how you can take your new leap into corporate America and into the professional world, or if you're getting ready to graduate, using the achievement of another young brother to maybe raise your sights or expand your vision. So excited to have Brother Kenny Glenn here with me, someone who teaches me that age doesn't matter. You can look up to anybody. Anybody can be someone who you can learn from. It doesn't matter where they are on age, where they are in terms of them crossing. So I'm so honored to know this young brother. Please introduce yourself, Brother Glenn, where you went when you crossed, and we'll get into the meat of the conversation.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Brother Bailey. So, name Kenny Glenn. I went and graduated from Miami University, which is in Oxford, Ohio, about 40 minutes away from Cincinnati. And I crossed Kappa Delta chapter in the semester of spring 2018.
All right. And so what are you doing now?
Yeah, so now I'm caught up in a whirlwind of activity. And so, present time being 4 years removed from graduating, I worked with the Literacy Lab, Leading Men Fellowship. So, that's a nonprofit headquartered in DC. And the main mission of Leading Men Fellowship is increasing the number of Black male teachers we have. And so, I recruit and hire young men of color between those ages 18 and 24, and I place them in preschool classrooms as tutors, but then also provide them with professional development and just wraparound services and resources that young brothers need, especially after high school. And so that's Kenny with the employee hat on. Kenny the entrepreneur is a professional speaker and a published author. And so I get paid to speak all across the country to middle school, high school, and college age students about how to truly figure out who they are, what they want, and how to go get it. So the title of that book is Question Everything, Advice for Students and Graduates, because that's what I'm pulling from when I'm on stages. And then although everybody won't hear me speak, at least them having the book is something they can always reference to, go back and highlight and see how I relate to their lives and things that they can implement.
Yeah. Which is phenomenal. I certainly have, and I thank you for my signed copies of the book. So I certainly have that, and I know that I've seen you on social media with other people across the country who are holding your book, who have read your book, who have gotten something from it. And I think what's important that I'd love you to speak on next, me coming out of college, I never would have thought right in the time that you've done it, being a published author, I'm not even gonna say it was the last thing on my mind. It was not even in the atmosphere of what I was thinking about doing, which is super impressive for you to now be a published author and a traveling speaker on that topic. So what did you do to prepare you to go that far, that fast after having graduated and gotten into your career?
Yeah. And so I'm going to talk about first what you said, not even thinking about the things that I'm doing. I was the same exact way. And so even in 2021, right, I was on the school board, professional athlete, and doing business consulting at a high level. And I definitely did not think I would write a book, nor was I confident enough to get on stages and tell my story and help others. But the thing that expedited me to this point is having a fantastic mentor and group of people doing amazing things around me. And so my first mentor coming out of college was Dr. JC Baker. And he's been number one in sales in literally 6 different industries. And now is the creator of the Business Hospital. And he has 6 books. And so with that, it's like, man, being around him every day and learning from his experiences and seeing him in day-to-day action, it's like, maybe this is something I could do. But then also in college, using your networking resources. So one of my good friends, Ben Phillips, his mentor was also Dr. Baker. So we worked with him together. And he released the book while he was still at Miami at the age of 19. Right. And it was him giving advice to essentially his younger self and him having a lone wolf mentality. That's the title of the book. And it's the mindset that millennials should carry. And that, yes, we love being together and posting things on social media. Like, hey, we're here, we're doing this. It was like, what are you specifically doing when you're alone? All right. Or some of your friends may be holding you back, but you got to propel forward and go through some things by yourself. All right. And so I expounded on that topic by giving advice to younger me, but then also, being a former athlete and graduating high school at 16, doing all of those things, like, all right, let's just dump this into the book. And you don't really need permission. There's no age requirement in writing or publishing a book. Right. So I learned that from Dr. Baker and Ben. And so that helped me expedite to where I am today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And a couple of things that I heard is the courage to associate with people that will challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
So that huge piece of advice there, because we typically like to associate with people that make us feel comfortable, not uncomfortable.
Right.
So congratulations on that. And then second, knowing that you have something of value, because everyone watching this, or most people watching this, first of all, are either in college, have graduated from college, and are bright, achieving young men.
Right.
But they may not think that they have anything of value in them to share. So could you talk a little bit about how going from that maybe comfort zone of, well, who wants to hear what I have to say, to that place of uncomfortability to say, I will share it. And even though everyone may not be the right audience, someone out there needs to hear this. Talk a little bit about how you got yourself over that hump of, I have something to say and there are other people who need to hear it.
Yeah.
And you reducing that down to writing.
Yep. So literally before I hopped on this podcast, just got a book in the mail, and the book is called The School of Life. Opened it to a random page. The first thing that was in it that I read was something I speak on when I'm on stages, which is imposter syndrome. So we'll use Kappa for an example. Kappa was founded Indiana University, which is a PWI. All right. And so we were a small percentage of the campus being Black men. And so fast forward to today's times, when we show up on campus in certain rooms, we may feel like imposters, like, man, I don't belong here. I don't look like everybody else in this room. I may not have had as high of an ACT. No, family didn't come from money. I'm obviously here on scholarship. All those different kind of thoughts go through our mind, which makes us feel like imposters. All right. But there's somebody somewhere that looks up to us and wish they could be us. So hence that brings in courage and confidence. Right. So if I'm a college student, a recent graduate of college, don't you think high school students would love to hear what I have to say? Right. Because I am doing or have done the things that they say they want to do. So I can fully help them. I can tell them what to do and tell them what not to do. Hey, go talk to this professor. Don't take that class. I chose this college because of X, Y, Z. Right. I got these scholarships. Man, if I could go back, I would apply for everyone under the sun. Right. I failed in these aspects. So you may see me and think, oh, Kenny's doing amazing. But Kenny didn't fail a lot of times. But I learned from those failures. And in this social media age, people don't talk about failures enough. Right. So you go on LinkedIn, hey, we got this new job. Hey, you'll see me. Man, I just spoke on this stage. But I didn't show you the emails where it's like, nah, Kenny, we don't have a budget for that. Or maybe next year. Or we can't get your book this time. All right. Or when I didn't get on school board initially. Like so many failures that I just learned from them and kept pushing. And so back to the mentorship piece, and me being in sales, rejection is going to come, but you learn from it and keep going. So you can eventually become your definition of success. But then, so imposter syndrome, we got, being courageous, which is, although you may be afraid, still pushing forward. And then confidence, which is believing in yourself. Right. And then let's even break down that word confidence. Let's take away the last NCE. Then you got confide. And to confide in something means you trust it, right? Confide in something or someone, right? And we talk about self-confidence, right? So you want to trust yourself. But how can you trust someone or something that you don't know or don't love or have constantly lied to, right? You say, man, I'm going to hop on this podcast at 8, right? But Brother Bailey, I'm thinking 9 o'clock, like I would have lied, right? And so you would have lost confidence in me and I would have lost confidence in myself because I said I was going to be here at 8 o'clock and now I'm here. Boosting confidence. All right. I know myself because I ask myself different questions, put myself in uncomfortable situations. And what do I like? What don't I like? All right. And I make sure to love myself.
That's awesome, man. There was so many things in there. So many things in there. And really, to those brothers watching, all the things that we say to ourselves as we join, that we commit ourselves to in our 5 objectives, all the things that we profess, as you said, on social media or publicly,
Yep.
about what it is to be a nupe and having reached being the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes a lot. We don't admit it a lot. We're not upfront about it, but a lot of times we say it and may not believe it ourselves.
Right.
So I love how you really got honest with yourself and got honest with us about, well, first of all, you have to trust in the things that you say to yourself before anyone else will believe in what you have to say. Man, great words.
Let's dive in real quick. Yeah, let's dive into the being a Kappa man part.
Yes, please.
Once you become a Kappa man, you know everybody on campus is looking at what you do, right? And so because of that, you always want to present your best foot forward, but then also just being honest, right? And so since you know everybody's watching, be the best you, right? And stand on that, and that should invoke confidence in itself.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about the mentor piece, because I don't want anyone to watch this or listen to this and say, well, Kenny had it easy. A mentor fell in his lap.
Right.
Someone walked up to him and said, hey, excuse me, young brother, I'd love to take you under my wing and make your dreams come true. Can you talk to me about what finding a mentor or recognizing a mentor, what is involved in that?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go in reverse order. So recognizing who is doing the things you say you want to do, or is the person you say you want to be. All right. And so let's use sports, for example. Now, I want to play college athletics or any sport. Right? Wouldn't it make sense to reach out to current D1, D2, D3 college athletes? Hey, how did you get to this point? What did you fail at? How did you get in contact with the coach? What is your daily schedule? All right. Things you can easily ask someone that you know or don't know. Right. And that's the positive power behind social media, is that you can reach out to essentially anybody. Right. So for me, being a Kappa man, when I was on my professional journey, professional track, I reached out to Brandon Marshall, retired NFL legend who owns House of Athlete down in Miami. Me and my team were going down to Miami to train. I said, man, this would be a perfect opportunity to meet Brandon Marshall and train his facility. Let me see if I can get in contact with him. So I went to his Instagram. One of his phone numbers literally was on there. So sent him a text. And being a fellow Kappa man, it's like we knew each other for years. And when I finally met him in person, it felt the exact same way. Right. But if I would have been afraid to reach out, that wouldn't have happened. Right. And so if you see somebody doing the things you want to do or have something that you want, you have to be courageous and reach out. All right. The finding part, I'm going to use Kappa again. My chapter started in 1980. I crossed in 2018. Right. So if my math is correct, all right, boom, that's 38 years of brothers that came in through my chapter. 38 years of brothers. And so with that, now, can't I reach out to them? We have a directory. It's like, man, who is doing things that I want to do? But not only that, maybe they're doing something I don't want to do, but I can still learn from them, right? And I have access to them, right? So no matter what type of company, industry, they all graduated from Miami. They all went on to become husbands, doctors, lawyers, different things that they love to do, right? I can learn from them, right? So that's the finding and recognizing mentors and then being confident and courageous to go seek them. Right, because they might not be looking for you like, man, who can I mentor today? Like, no, you need to be thinking in your mind, man, who can I learn from? Who do I need to talk to? Right, so we say in society, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Right? That quote is incomplete, right? Because what did the people that you know about you? Right, and so I'll give you a great example. I was on school board, and being on a school board, I had to sit in expulsion appeal hearings. So there were certain students that I knew, but not from a good reason. And so they could say, yeah, I know Kenny Glenn. And when somebody come ask me, hey, Kenny, you know this student? Yes, I do. But it's not because they are getting straight A's and not getting in trouble. It's because of the complete opposite. Right. And so what do the people that you know about you? Is it good things or is it anything? Because, yeah, they might know you, but can't say anything about you. Like, yeah, he's in my chapter. I know about him, heard his name, but don't know about him or what he does. He never called or emailed me. Right. And so you got to be a part of your own rescue in the fact that whatever I want in this life, I got to go get it. Right. And who has the knowledge and information and resources that I need?
Perfect. Yeah. And That's the first time that I've heard the completion of that,
I appreciate it.
and it makes so much sense because we say, "I know," oh, I know this person. Well, you guys have met before.
Right.
You shook hands, you've gripped up, you've introduced yourself, told
Mm-hmm.
what chapter you're from, what year, talked about the bond and how great it is to be a Kappa. But if an opportunity came across their desk, they would not know that this is a perfect fit for the young brother I just met because you
Exactly.
haven't said. So, man, so well said. And we talk about in the fraternity bridging the gap,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully this is one of the things that will do that. I'm honest enough to say that it's not worth every young man. It's not worth every young brother's time to talk to every older brother.
Right.
Every older brother isn't someone who may add value. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that they're not valuable, that we don't love and appreciate
Right.
them, but they may not just be the person that's going to that's going to speed up your success.
Exactly.
But you never know unless you are willing to engage, share, hey, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
let me let you know what I have in mind and can you help?
Yeah.
Because older brothers that are successful, they want to leave clues. They want to pass that on. They want to help.
Exactly.
Man,
And
so
they didn't get
that's
there
very good.
themselves. They probably leaned on older brothers themselves.
Yes, yes. So you talked about being courageous. You talked about reaching out and making sure that those who know you. Is there anything else that you would say sped up your track to success? Because I would certainly consider you to be 10, 15 years, 20 years ahead, maybe even more than the average, not just brother, but just the average black man, period.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you definitely, in addition to those, you can look back and say, that knocked 5, 10 years off of my progression by just doing this one thing or just knowing this one thing? What would a couple more of those things be?
Man, off the top of my head, the thing that comes to mind and the one word I use to describe my book is self-reflection.
Mm.
So what have I done and how does it add value to this world? And so we think, oh, I just graduated from high school like I was supposed to do, went to college, took these classes, joined this org, held this position, and kept it pushing. I know it's so much deeper than that. What lessons did you learn from that? And how can you add value to the world? And so I do it as a speaker, but then also educational consultant using my school board experience. Right? I got on the school board, and that came from me going back to my high school and giving them the game I wish somebody would have gave me. Right? And I actually was speaking with one of the young men that was in that classroom a couple hours ago. And the fact that we were talking about getting recruited for college. So like, if you want somebody's on a college campus phone number, you can just Google it. Right? How did I find their email? Like use Google and reach out to them. And so I use my resources to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially I make myself a bridge. Right. And so I use older brothers, but then pour into younger brothers. And so both of them are recognizing that. So I'm at the top of mind at most times when it comes to opportunities that make sense to Kenny Glenn.
Yeah.
And so with that self-reflection, I'm taking lessons from everything that I did and learned from. So if I failed, and what's the lesson in that? If I changed my major, all right, what's the lesson in that? Who else did that on this college campus?
Yeah.
And that was in high school, I self-reflected, college, and especially after. And so on my iPhone, I have over 600 notes just on things that may stroll through my mind. If I had a good conversation, didn't do good at a track meet, failed an exam, well, I'm just writing it down. It's like, man, what can I learn from that?
Yeah.
And how can I learn from other people? And then something else I would say is that becoming a Kappa, you become an instant celebrity on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they expect you at every party. Right? And so something I tell young brothers is that you do not have to be at every party. You don't have to be at every function. Sometimes you just need time for you, time to think, relax, and recharge, because you obviously have events to put on. You still got schoolwork. You're still trying to plan for life after. So take time to rest and give time to yourself.
Right.
And in that time frame, you may not feel like studying for a class or an exam, but that could be the perfect time to learn more about you. All right. So today I just came to the realization that I love studying. and not necessarily from a school or class or exam standpoint, but studying and learning more about Kenny and the things that I'm attached to. All right. So when I was doing long jump, I was a student. I was at YouTube University. Like who was long jumping, who's doing the same technique as me, who was my similar height, what was the weather conditions that day, what kind of spikes they was wearing. Like I'm literally like a full student.
Yeah.
And so something that has propelled me is being a student of whatever I'm in, but also being a student of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's good. That's good. And, something that you kind of alluded to, but it jumps out to me as something that I think may have sped you up. It reminds me of old Zig Ziglar quote. If you want everything you want in life, you got to help enough other people get what they want.
Yep.
And I think, and I'm speaking to myself and maybe a lot of people listening, it takes maybe a while before we mature into the kind of person that is freely giving of our knowledge and information.
Yeah.
Even looking at the Kappa intake experience, we always a little bit hesitant to give the new guys what we know. We feel like we got to earn it. I'm not willing to give it away freely.
Mm-hmm.
But then we take that same approach in life, and it sounds like, no, it doesn't sound like I know. You have taken through your speaking, through your engagement in the schools and talking to these young men, and you've immediately reflected. And as soon as you understand what it is that you've learned from your mistakes or from your gains, you turn around and give it right back to whoever. And that's propelled you, I think, helped you speed up, because you're faster now than most other people to mature to the point where I'm willing to give away everything that I've got.
What am I going to do with it? It's like,
absolutely.
Also, I never even noticed that. So thank you for saying that. But it's that, man, I wish somebody would have told me this.
Yes.
And so when I would get to certain rooms, places, experiences, I'm like, man, why ain't nobody tell me?
Yeah.
And so a part of me was jaded by the fact that it's like, all they was just withholding information. But maybe they just didn't think it was that important because they made it through without somebody telling them.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if I would have knew, I could have been even further, even faster, avoided this pitfall. Yes. Right. So I don't want other students going through the exact same things I went through. Right. When you see this, take a right instead of a left. Because you take this left, this is going to happen. Trust me, I know. Right. And if they take that left, it's on them. But you can't say Kenny Glenn didn't tell you.
Exactly. And if they take the right, like you took the right, it doesn't mean that you slow down. So by you giving it to someone else, it doesn't take away from you.
Right.
At all. So that's another thing. I think we have a thought that when I give away my information, it costs me to get it. And if I give it away for free, it's going to cost me back somehow. Like, no. Why are we so afraid to give each other game?
Exactly. Especially as Black men, like we're just different versions of each other. Like I looking at this podcast, like you're another Black man in America, as am I. So it's like looking in the mirror. All right. And so I would want more versions of me. In order to get that, man, I want you smarter. I want you knowing more. I want you connected here. Right? We all have the same passions, visions, goals for our life. Right?
Yes.
Live comfortably, provide for our families.
Yes.
With that, if I can help you on that journey, then I'm here because other people are also helping me.
Absolutely. And of course, the bond makes that even more of a reality, which, so definitely. So we've talked a lot about about a lot of the things that have been positives: a mentor, being courageous, being confident, reaching out, being proactive, not being afraid to get a no. Tell us about some of the traps, some of the things that you absolutely, and you mentioned failure.
Yeah.
And as John Maxwell in his book, Fail Forward, you have to have those failures and the lesson of self-reflection to learn from them. What are the things that you now can say, just a couple of things that in general, maybe even for those that want to specifically go into entrepreneurship, being an author, being a public speaker, going into education, what are a couple of those traps that you absolutely could throw out right now that they need to be on the lookout for?
Yeah. One trap is that social media is real, right? And so we already talked about how people only posting the wins, right? So I got 2 degrees in accounting. And so with that, I'm forced to be skeptical, which is an entendre for the title of the book being question everything. And so let's say somebody posted, I made $1 million. Right? Did they make $1 million, or are they just saying that? Or maybe they actually made $1 million. What if they spent 20 million to get that? Now they hustling backwards. Right. And so it's asking these different questions and not falling into the trap of the shiny new object. Well, I can make money doing this, I can make money doing that. But are you truly passionate about it? Right? You can make money doing anything. Like literally, you can sell pet rocks and make money. Right? I tell that to students all the time when I go into these schools. I want to be an entrepreneur. All right, what is an entrepreneur? Somebody that owns a business. All right, go sell some pet rocks then. But that's not what I do. Well, what do you want to do? I want to do what makes you most money. Well, what do you love to do? And then find ways to make money doing it. Like I love giving game, and now I get paid to give game, but never knew that existed.
Right.
But people are already doing it. Learn more about them by doing what I already love to do. Like, I was doing it for free, and sometimes I still do. But the fact that it has value and there are certain budgets for it, perfect. Another trap, and this is coming out of college in general, is that your major does not define a mandatory job, or your degree does not mean it's your destiny. Right. So I mentioned I got 2 degrees in accounting. I actually dislike accounting, but I fully understand it and the importance of it. But I took the intangibles from it, hence being skeptical, but also compartmentalizing things and people. Right. So there are certain people I can call, hey man, let's go to the club. There are other people I can call, hey, let's go study, or let's take this cruise, or let's take this course, right? Learn more about entrepreneurship, or let's go to this business meeting or this networking event. Right? There are different people in certain buckets that I can call for different types of things.
Yeah.
Right? And so don't fall into the trap of you have to do everything by yourself, or that you have to do everything with certain people. And it's like, no, you can put them in buckets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple things before we wrap up. The first thing I definitely would love you to do, and this could be in the form of a couple of books or a couple of YouTube channels or a couple of TED Talks or whatever, including your own book for sure.
Yep.
But what resources would you say, if you're listening to this, you're getting ready to graduate as an undergraduate nupe, you just graduated recently, and you're looking to speed up what you thought your path to success would be? What are a couple of things that someone should do next 48 hours, next 2 weeks, that they could take action on, read, listen to, or engage themselves in?
Obviously my book, Question Everything, Advice for Students and Graduates. And then the next thing I would say is not necessarily going external, but more internal. So what are some things as you about to transition that you wish you would have known? And it's like, or the things that you took advantage of that you would want somebody else to do. So just like I do giving game, what's the game you would give to younger you? All right. And so when I'm on stage, is my secret sauce, if you will, is what's a 2-word phrase of advice you would give your younger self? Right. And so for me, it's question everything. Sometimes I also use my initials being KG. And so keep going, keep growing, and keep giving. Right. And so I would implore anyone listening to this, create their own 2-word phrase. Right? But then expound on 2 words. What do you mean by those 2 words? Turn that into a sentence and then a paragraph. Maybe you write a book, but like, what advice would you give to younger you? And so younger you is always with you, but then future you is based on the things that you do today. All right. So the actions, the things that you say, what you do on a daily basis, the people you talk to, that's how you create future you. So my book, going internal and giving advice to yourself, other people I have learned from tremendously on social media, Myron Golden, Julian Gordon, Ash Cash. I'm trying to think back to when I first got out of college. Dr. Baker has some stuff out there. Yeah, a lot of it was going internal and just trying new things, right? And talking to people. And so people in college listening to this, you paid for or you're on scholarship to be on that college campus. And with that, you need to be utilizing every resource they have. And when I say resource, I'm talking about people, right? And so getting a degree and graduating, of course, that was the goal. But college is a place of being social, right? And they sell you education, right? Or schooling, because we know school and education not the same thing.
Right.
But there are people on that campus who obviously graduated college and then decided to come back, whether that was for graduate school, getting their master's and or PhD, but then just working at the campus to help you. And you're just a younger version of them, right? So asking them every question under the sun. Like, what was your journey after college? What did you expect to happen? What didn't happen? How much money did you make? Did you still have to stay at home? All right, not making emotional decisions. Yeah, getting your finances in order. So figure out, man, where am I going to live? How much money am I going to be making? How much money I'm going to be spending? All right, do I currently make decisions based on emotion? Yeah, I would just say go in on self.
Okay. Okay. So I guess closing it out, again, knowing our audience. So primarily, a lot of brothers are going to be hearing this, young or old. And again, as I said earlier, I've taken stuff away. So I'm not just graduated, not just getting started in my career, but as every time I have a conversation with you, there's something that I take away that I'm like, all right, I got to tighten up. So I know everybody is going to hear something, but I do want to leave you the last few minutes to just share whatever parting thoughts you may have to those listening. Again, to help them make that life after school or life just before after school be more than what they thought that it could be. So I just want to leave the last closing thoughts with you.
Yeah, appreciate that. First thing that comes to mind is use the bond to the fullest, right? And so me even being on this podcast is thanks to the bond and the relationship that we have. Man, I lived in Miami, Florida for 3 months rent free because of one of my old heads, John Sachs, who's a professional saxophone player. And the book actually spawned out of many conversations we had, right? And so that doesn't happen without the bond. I remember one time I had to fly to Atlanta for literally 24 hours. I was able to rent a car, get a haircut, and get picked up from the airport, all from a brother from Z-Tall, actually. Yep, my guy Trey Carter looked out for me based on the bond. Or one of my other old heads owns a moving company. I needed a bed while I was living in Atlanta. He brought a bed down that was worth $3,000, only had me pay $100, right, and delivered it to my house.
Wow.
Yeah, so like all those 3 examples, funny enough, those are actually all in the book. But like just using the bond for the good. The certain poems we have to recite and remember, like take those to heart. And so, end of Invictus. I am the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. Right? We say it. It sounds cool. Like, oh, they got it down. But like, do you truly embody it and mean it? All right. And so I didn't need anybody's permission to go write my book or get on these certain stages. I had to go get votes to join the school board. However, I didn't need permission to go after it and go actually do it. Right? I was like, I'm going to go for this position. Right? Or doing professional track. Like, no one said, hey, Kenny, we super need you. It's like, no, I want to do this. I'm going to go after it. So whatever it is you want in life, go for it. So that was the main example of using the bond, and whatever you want in life, go after it. The other thing I want to talk about, man, using your time and resources wisely and not falling victim to distractions. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So, and we can just be completely honest. So some people's distraction is alcohol. Some people's distraction is drugs. Some people are just extremely distracted by women. All right. But be able to pinpoint those distractions and being honest with yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Man, first of all, shout out to Z-Tall for being in the book and being on getting mentioned. But man, I want to thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I know that everyone who listens needs to, first of all, listen to it a couple of times, because there's going to be something that you're going to hear on the second and third listen. I wish you nothing but continued success. I know that's a guarantee. I'm just so glad that I get to sit back, watch it happen, and learn. So, man, I thank you for being here and sharing and dropping this game. And we certainly hope everyone listening gets something out of it to accelerate your success. And certainly much success to all of you listening and watching in your life after school.
Yes, sir. And before we end the podcast, got to give a shout out to Brother Bailey for being the amazing man and human that he is. So always looking out for brothers, but then looking out for himself, which helps us. And so the way you look out for yourself is through health.
Yes, sir.
And so the things that you eat, the things that you do from a workout standpoint, and you didn't just hold that information. You like, man, other people need to hear this because they may be going through similar things, right? Or eventually get to this point. And so I'm letting y'all know these pitfalls and things that I'm eating and not eating and staying away from so that I can be healthy. right? And we say health is wealth, but there are 8 dimensions to wellness. And so physical is one of them, but then also is fully attached to your mental.
That's right.
Fully attached to your spiritual. There's also can be attached to your financial and occupational. All right. And so all these things are connected. But I just wanted to take that time to give a shout out to you, because you still taught me some major things when it comes to health. I actually bought some almond butter today, so that'll be what I have before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I go.
Cool. Well, appreciate you.
Absolutely.